You were ranked by BBC as the top 100 most influential, inspiring women in the world this year. You are the fastest Lebanese woman ever in history. And you also hold the records for the 100-meter and the 200-meter
Indoor,
races
200
indoor.
meter indoor.
I think you can do the same outdoor, though. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
that's the goal. That's the goal. That's the
that.
goal.
So, Aziza, you were faced with a crazy incident over the summer, and please do share your story with us. We want to know what happened. Why were you not able to go to the Olympics, the Paris Olympics this summer? What was the situation? We know there's obviously a lot of issues that occurred, but we want to hear your perspective.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, so I'm still running, still trying to represent Lebanon, still doing my best to, show the good side of Lebanon and the positive side of Lebanon, which is something we need more than ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this summer, I think anyone who follows me or who knows me knows that it's always every athlete's dream anyway to make it to the Olympic Games. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, this year, it's always, again, Lebanon gets to send one athlete from Lebanon to the Olympic Games just because we haven't still managed to snag that automatic qualification. And so it's either one guy or one girl. It's no longer two athletes. So it's either one male athlete or one female athlete, depending on who has the highest points in the 100 meters or 800 meters or marathon. So those are the rules overall. And so up until 2 weeks before the deadline, I had the highest points. But then another athlete managed to get the highest points. And that's where the issue started because this athlete had fled from Lebanon back in October 2023, so exactly a year from now, from today, يعني, because he was with the army and he tried to, get al-istighna, or he wanted to leave from the army, and they wouldn't, give him that. So he just decided, after a lot of, trying, he decided to, just leave Lebanon, and that's not allowed when you're a soldier in the army. So he
So he
had his
deserted,
passport
kind
and
of.
he deserted. Yeah.
Okay.
And so for an athlete who technically has some issues with the government, let's say on like a much higher level than just athletics, what are the rules? Like, is he allowed to represent a country that he ran away from? Or so there were a lot of question marks, and eventually the federation said that they want to send him regardless of what the situation is, and which is still okay. So if they're able to find a solution for that, 100%, he deserves to go. He earned his spot.
Yeah.
But they did that like 5 days before the deadline. So they asked him to fly back into Lebanon. And the repercussions of that were that a soldier who deserts and then gets back into the country, automatic jail time. So he had to spend like 15 days in jail. The federation thought that they would, get to some sort of agreement with the army, and complete refusal, all the way up to the general of the army, كمان يعني. So he was like, no
Oh, wow.
way, this cannot be an example for other soldiers or other people who desert from the army. And he
Yeah.
kind of used, I think, him as an example. Whether that is right or wrong at this point, it's another issue. The main issue was that the federation kept pushing, and they kept promising my club that there was an extension to the deadline, and that in case this athlete was not able to go, then they would send the second best in line. Okay. And eventually they did not. They missed the deadline. They had so many issues going on, to the point where another athlete, a male athlete, was told that he would represent, because they were only allowed to switch male for male at this point in the 100 meters, because that's the event the first athlete was put in, the 100 meters. He was registered for the 100 meters. And
Okay.
so we go back to the fact that when the National Olympic Committee, so when it comes to the Olympic Games, the National Olympic Committee is the one that kind of like sets who the final teams according to the different federations. So I belong to the track and field federation. So they knew that other athletes couldn't represent. So when the journalists were getting feedback of who the final team is going to be, they mentioned that Le Rion Le Jour actually mentioned that Aziza is the final athlete to make the team and all of that. So that was the article that went about. And because of this article, the athlete went on to say, there's what's the word بالعربي? Wasta, and they're choosing another athlete that shouldn't go, and you guys need to do something, and let's search for justice or whatever.
Nepotism.
Yeah, nepotism, exactly. That's the word, nepotism. And so things got way out of hand on social media, and people didn't even know the full story. They just thought that, okay, so some athlete is going to come take this guy's place, so he deserves it. No backstory, like no backstory at all about why he wasn't gonna, or wasn't at that point being selected directly, even though he had earned the place. I still refuse to do anything on social media because I believed that the federation would eventually take the right steps, and they didn't, to the point where no one ended up representing Lebanon at the Olympic Games for the first time. The only other time was 1996, and we've been representing Lebanon since 1948. So I feel like that was a huge deal, and that's why I decided to file a lawsuit against them internationally. And I took on the case to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, or CAS, CAS. And right now we're in the process of taking that lawsuit further.
Wow, that's an insane series of events that just occurred. So how do you? Yeah, it's like holy shit. Basically, that's the response.
Yeah.
I cannot even understand how do you feel about this? I can't put my place. There's explain to us how do you feel about this? Because you expected that the federation would take the right steps. They did not. They only focused on choosing the man that a man that they wanted, and so what are your feelings throughout this?
So my feelings definitely had a lot of dips and ups and everything, but so I was in Lebanon at the time when everything unfolded, and when eventually I found out from a post that eventually I was not even going to be considered for going to the Olympics because it was too late. And if I think back on that moment when I finally figured, and oh my God, so khalas, this is it, it's over. I think it was one of the biggest heartbreaks of my whole entire life. Yeah, up until whatever's going on in Lebanon, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, it was very, very painful. Because we're not just doing this because yalla, let's do it. I've been dedicating my whole life for this, and at the end, and I got to a point where I realized that even people in the track community kind of believed so much that I didn't deserve this. And it's hurt so much more to feel but I'm fighting for the mabda. This is something that should be that
principle.
Put the principle of it is it's not just about me. Put any other athlete in my shoes. Any other athlete, put yourself in my shoes. If you feel like you could have gone and represented Lebanon in whatever competition, because I don't know, some other athlete didn't go, it's not my problem, but the issue is someone had to go and represent. How does it make sense for no one to go at all? So that's when the fight became more. So first of all, let's go back to the feelings. I was distraught. I was really sad. I was crying so much. I was in my apartment in Babda, and I completely disappeared. I went to Arnaoun, and with some friends, some close friends that are not track related. I just didn't want anything to do with the track anymore. And And yeah, I just spent a few days there just to like cool off and not think, not see anything. But I think I was just so down. And then I realized that, like, why just let my feelings eat me up? And it took me 2 days to kind of decide that I need to take this further. And so I contacted a friend of mine who's a sports lawyer, and she put me in contact with like another sports lawyer in Kenya. And then they both, Sorim and Khairan, put me in contact with my lawyer right now, Monica.
Yeah.
So it was a whirlwind of like emotions and like how to deal with it. I'm like, I won't let this thing just end here, like everything else in Lebanon. Like, we
Yeah.
do not get any sort of justice, and whether it's justice or whatever else you want to call it, but at least there must be some level level of accountability for what was done. Like, I even got my club to send an email to the federation asking them, why did you not send Aziza? And no reply. And this wasn't the first time. Like, even at the
Wow.
beginning of the season, our club, Let's Run, got in contact with the federation, sending them an email telling them, so this is the Olympic year. How do you think we can work together to support these athletes? We need to know, like, just to get some info about like the best races to go to be able to qualify.
Yeah, of course.
Zero replies. So in terms of governance, in terms of people who consider themselves in power, at least do your jobs right. And then what makes it even worse is that another young athlete, he's 19 years old. He was supposed to go to the World Under-20 Championships in Peru. Like, imagine you're a 19-year-old, you qualified, you're running so well. Oh, this guy, like, he's been training so hard, and he's been running so well. And then eventually he didn't end up going. So I was watching, the World Under-20 Champs. I'm like, where's Andrew? Because I had like, taken myself out. It was like a month after everything. And then eventually I found out that because of some mix up with the visa issue, he wasn't able to go. Like, how is that even allowed? And these issues, they're not the first time they happen. It's not the first time they happen. And because I'm always kind of vocal about it, that's why I feel like I get backlash, whether it's from the federation or from whoever wants to kiss their balama ulshu. You know what I mean?
Understand.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks, Aziza, for spreading awareness and talking about it. I think it's so important. I'm a little bit sick, but I'm sick of the Lebanese Athletic Federation. Let's go. And so it's so important because, you're doing the right thing. I mean, the nice thing about athletics is it's objective. It's point-based.
Yes.
You have points.
Numbers.
Yes. You're the person that qualified the most. They should have sent you easy. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But because of corruption, mismanagement, you didn't get to go, and they messed up the whole situation. And if you didn't speak up, then no one would know about this story, and there would be no accountability, there would be no consequences, and then this would just repeat over and over again.
Same cycle.
We need to put pressure on them to let them know that this is not okay, and we're all watching to make sure that the next time they do better.
I don't know if they even understand that they're wrong because, to be honest, like, once I filed the lawsuit and it got to them, like, they're fighting as well. So they hired. So for me, my lawyer was kind of like pro bono. So she didn't want to take, any sort of like money for the case. So hey, obviously, I'm a athlete who's not like, hamle, like a lot of money with me trying to. So thankfully she was she took on this case. But then obviously now that the federation hired their law firm, they hired one of the best law firms in the UK. They have a team of 5. I only had a team of 1 lawyer. So because of that, we kind of had to switch the agreement between me and my lawyer. So whatever comes out of this case, she has to take her fees from that. And we kind of had to add people on the team as well. So not only like do they feel like they are completely right and they are, trying to like prove that what they did was okay, because they do not believe like what they did was like wrong in any sense. Sorry, that's Darcy.
Hey, Darcy.
Hey, Darcy.
Yeah, and so they're taking it to like a whole other level of trying to get something done with like force, like forcefully. So
Hmm.
yeah, I hope eventually, like, the pure fact that Cass accepted this case was a win for me in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because they could have
Okay.
dismissed it. So they could have said like, this makes no sense, case dismissed. But them accepting it proves that there's something there.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and the thing about Lebanon, we don't have a lot of documentation. So they tell us, okay, so when did you receive this email? Like, do you think like they didn't even reply to an email? What do you think, when, you know what I mean? So we're trying to like get proof and evidence from like left and right, but without any like tangible material. And even when it comes to like the federation choosing who was going to represent, it was all done on social media. It wasn't like a bayan rasmi put on the website or whatever.
Yeah.
So
There's no database at all.
nothing. So that's why it's kind of like confusing. But yeah, it's been taking up a lot of my mental capacity in a way. And considering everything going on in Lebanon, it has been tough for me to kind of like juggle all of these
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, good on you for like standing up for yourself, even though it's like, it's against the federation, it's against basically a whole organization, and you are fighting as an individual. um, that's that's an amazing thing to do, to like gather your own team and then kind of like stick it to the man in a way.
yeah, yeah. I think,
So
yeah.
we compel you for that. It's amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, that's what I feel like a lot of people in Lebanon or maybe in other places are afraid to do,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe they could have the power to say, yeah, you're never going to be able to run again, or people are afraid to lose whatever they have. But I think I got to a point after the whole Olympic dilemma. I'm like, I have nothing to lose at this point. Like,
Yeah.
whatever happened, like I don't know what's worse. What's the worst thing that could happen? So, and not just that, like, I believe so much that we need accountability. Whether this federation stays in power right now, at least we need to work on clear rules and guidelines and governance procedures, so we do not have to go through this again, whether it's me or any other athlete down the line. Like, that's
Yeah.
my main concern in terms of like this case. It's really not about anything else. I cannot get back what was lost.
Mm-hmm.
Neither can any other athlete. But we need protection. And that's what this case is about, to protect any other athlete, whether in my sport or any other sport. And that's something we do not have in Lebanon. And again, it goes back to the point that most of the people in power and in positions are all put there based on their political backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Sports is not about, we think in sports, yeah, blah blah blah, and no, sports organizations in Lebanon, federations, shouldn't have nothing to do with political institutions, but they do. It's all
Mm.
divided that way, and every single person in Lebanon knows. There are studies done about how every
Yeah.
political party gets a certain member, and that's how all these positions are chosen. So even if
Is
they do stay in power, I feel like it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary for rules to be put in place that
Yeah.
just to protect us. Yeah.
Is there an association with that, with the athlete that they wanted to take with them? Hey, Darcy.
Hey, Darcy. Welcome.
Yeah, she just wants some
Welcome.
attention. Hi,
Hey, friend.
Darcy.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, is there an association?
Yes, I was asking if there's an association with the athlete that they chose to represent Lebanon that didn't end up. That was let's use his name, Noor.
Yeah.
Is there an association there with like the political
Political
relations
parties?
and the federations?
No,
Is that
not
why they
really.
just focused on him?
No, not really. But if like like in their point of view, he had the highest point, so they wanted to do everything to allow him to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But then it turned into a game of ego. Like, if he doesn't go, then no one else is going. And that's the biggest issue in Lebanon. There's no such thing as ego in sports. Like, you have to put that on the side when it comes to you choosing what's best for your athletes. Like, if you wanted to, if you want to make me believe that you care about him so much, then why did you not help him when he left in October, when he was begging for someone to help him to get out of the army? Why didn't you help him
Yeah.
back in May or whatever, when we had the West Asian Championships in Iraq, and you said, no, we can't, go against the army and let you compete. Let's wait for the right time. Why didn't you help him in December when he was trying to go compete in Turkey at championships? Because in Turkey, we're not allowed to compete unless there's like a direct email from our federation to the Turkish federation to allow us to compete or train or whatever. He asked the federation for that and they refused. They said, no, we can't do that. So they left him on his own. Hell, do you care about him to like leave him? But then just because of like, okay, so now it's performance, blah, blah, let's care about him. We should not be, just people, you just look at us for our performance. This athlete is one of the greatest athletes Lebanon has ever seen. He had at least the 100, 200, and 400-meter records. And
Yeah.
his times are crazy times. So you can't just dismiss him because of, whatever problems he was going through with the army, and then decide before 5 days of a deadline to kind of solve his issue. And then at the same time, just like take all the rest of the athletes with him to the grave, So that's why I don't believe whatever they're saying or doing, because they proved over and over that they didn't care about the athletes. They just don't. So don't tell me you care about athletes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it shows that the passion that you have about this topic, about how much you're fighting also for athletes' rights. And I feel like this is a new cause that you've taken on for yourself, which is amazing, because who else is better to fight for athletes' rights than an athlete themselves whose rights are being violated?
Yeah.
Like you could set precedent for the future of Lebanese athletes to come, and I feel like that is an amazing cause to be fighting for. So, and on that topic, like, what do you think is the future for Lebanon, and the future for Lebanon in Olympics as well?
I feel like we have a very beautiful future ahead, to be honest. Like, the new generation of athletes are just really being put in the right places with the right people, and their mindsets are much different. So when I was younger, I didn't really have anyone to look up to who had like the same, let me say, like background like me, who had to juggle between university and studying, and then also working, and then running and all of that. And that's why I never really took it, let's say, seriously until I was like 27 years old, because
Yeah.
I had decided to like quit my job and then focus on track more. And now I'm back to like doing all three again together. But this generation is just so focused, so serious. We have a lot of up and coming athletes in their early 20s who have just been doing amazing. And I know that eventually qualification to the Olympics, like direct qualification, is right around the corner. I'm pretty sure that by 2028, the Olympics are going to be in LA and Ali.
Oh.
Yeah. So I feel like we'll definitely see athletes who are directly qualifying. Like this year, we were so close as well. Like one of our athletes, Mark Anthony Ibrahim, he runs the 400-meter hurdles. He was like really, really close to direct qualification, which would have meant that had he directly qualified, then it would have opened the space for a female athlete to go with him as well. So hopefully by 2028, I feel like at least 2 or 3 athletes could qualify to the Olympic Games. So the future is really, really great, but I just really hope that we have, pure governance in terms of like having clarity and transparency, and because that's what track is all about. As Ali said, it's all numbers based. Like it's not that difficult. Like it's either black or white. There's no gray area. There's no like judgment in terms of like, let's say gymnastics. Like I could see something but say like maybe I like it, maybe I don't know, but like over here it's all very clear. So at least let's have that level of transparency.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not subjective, it's objective.
Yeah.
Ali,
All right.
you were saying.
I wanted to ask you about so why are you speaking out instead of your coach, for example? Or are you taking on this responsibility?
So technically, I don't know is you guys know as well, but the federation actually suspended my coach during like the like during the whole thing, that during the unfolding, let's say, of the whole stuff. They accused him of well, actually they just suspended him like on Facebook. There was no reason for it, but behind the scenes they were accusing him of like him being the reason that Noor didn't go, knowing that my coach was Noor's first coach ever up until last year. And knowing that during that time, the reason my coach and my club were fighting and talking to the federation and people around was because they knew that the army, it was going to be very hard for them to like retract and go back to, saying that, okay, yeah, Noor can compete. And they did not want time to be wasted. So they were saying that, listen, if Noor doesn't go, you guys need to make sure that Aziza goes. Very clear. No one needs to like, pretend like that's something about involving nepotism or whatever. But so in terms of this, it's not about like, my coach speaking up or my club speaking up. I know maybe some things could have been done in a different way. Technically, yeah, my club was trying to like get in contact with them all the time, and things were, they were trying to do, their job, at least in terms of like protecting my rights. But I think I realized that if I don't take things into my own hands, like nothing's going to be done. Like it's quick for people to just up and say like, well, shufina namul, what can we do? Like, it's been done and blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't going to take that for an answer. But again, like my club is one of the most supportive clubs ever. Like they've been with me and standing next to me on this journey as I've been, taking this the next step in the way. And same thing with my coach. Like we understand the implications of what I'm doing and how maybe like I don't know what the effects of it are going to be, but at least like I'm hoping that down the line it could turn out into a positive thing for athletes. And yeah, like had things not been so crazy in Lebanon, like I was also trying to work on starting an association on the side to kind of like protect, like the whole job of that association or the vision of it would be to protect athletes' rights. So to kind of like join forces with journalists and lawyers, and for athletes to know like, okay, in case something goes wrong with you, this is what you can do from A to Z. Whether you want to directly talk to the federation, get answers from them, you have the right to do all of that. You have a voice and you can use it. So, and you have no idea, like once I put out that video, so many athletes from Lebanon were like, oh my God, like we've been through so much and blah, 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 blah. Like you're so courageous to do this. Everyone's afraid to take any step. And I understand why. Like,
why?
Because like they can be like, okay, yalla, bye, your career is over. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not like an easy decision to be like, okay, I'm gonna fight against my own governing body. Like it's not an easy decision. So
totally. That's why you need independent third party that's ethical, that's there to oversee everything, where you can go to them and tell them and they can work it out to protect you.
Yeah.
Have you 100%. Thought of like a name for this association, or not yet?
Not yet. No. Yeah.
I really hope you get it. I really hope you get it running, because
yeah. It's very necessary. It's very necessary. Yeah.
So,
no, go ahead, Ali. Sorry.
Said, you were saying something. Go ahead.
I was talking about. I wanted to ask about more about the association. It's like, so what are the current steps are you taking to build it, or is that on pause right now?
So it's on, I was thinking it's on pause just because like, so I was working with Reem Bashir. She's one of like the sports consultants that I went to. She's a sports lawyer. But anyway, like because of everything going on in Lebanon, obviously like no one's head was with them during this time, and we're still trying to like find our equilibrium and our balance to kind of like go on with our daily lives in a way. So It's taken like a little backseat, but as soon as we're able to get that fog out of our brains and kind of like
Yes.
be able to spread our wings, then we take the next step. But it's definitely something that's still there. As long as the lawsuit is still on and I'm still doing something about it, that means the association is still going to be there. But it's just slower steps at the moment.
It sounds like
Hopefully
you're
soon.
also, yeah, it sounds like you're also making the right connections and networking properly through this lawsuit, which is,
Yeah.
like, it's an interesting way to obviously connect with people that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it sounds like that can also be beneficial for the association in the future.
Definitely.
What I wanted to learn more about is like, what are the talks that you're having now with your lawyer, the team of lawyers that you're working with? Like, what are the conversations you're having about this lawsuit?
So
Obviously,
technically,
don't
yeah.
want to be too invasive.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll say what I can share, but technically, as you're saying, in terms of networking, like Rima and Khairan have been like really a great support for me in terms of like opening my eyes to uh like the depth of humanitarian sports law. I didn't even know that existed, and like that, it was that deep.
Well,
um
yeah.
but it's like such a huge world, and I got to meet, like, obviously online, a couple of associations that work on those topics.
Yeah.
They're mainly based in the UK or in Europe, but I like, my goal now is kind of like to learn from them and see what they're doing and what can be applied in Lebanon in a way. And again, like when we talk about these associations, I feel like federations automatically think like, oh, we're going to be, عم بيحاربونا, or they're fighting against us or whatever. And that's not the point. The point is like for us to work with the federations to create something better for the athletes. Like, at least sit with us, ask us what we need, what's missing, what can we do, all of that stuff. It's not a fight. It's really not. We're trying to better the sport, get to better heights, reach better heights, and just improve all in all as an organization. If we go to the smallest details of the fact that our federation's website isn't even a proper website, like, let's start with that. Like, we're supposed to at least start with those stuff that maybe they think is nothing, you know what I mean? But no, that's a very basic thing that you need to work on, you know what I mean? So
Totally.
so it's things like this. But I've managed to meet like so many, I say cool people right now, but yeah, so many cool people in this world of sports, and I'm just hoping that we'd be able to apply this stuff in Lebanon. Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Hopefully it
For
goes well as well.
Yeah.
for me, I really care about Lebanon. I want to see Lebanon be free to succeed. You know, um, Lebanon's going through so much right now,
Yeah.
and my heart really aches for them. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter where we shake it off, become free, and then every one of us, it's not just athletics where there's corruption across the board. And we just need accountability,
Yeah.
a third party to
That's
make sure that everything's transparency, and that's it. It's not
yeah.
really the only
It's not
people who
rocket
are
science. It's really not.
the only people who are afraid of that are people who know they're doing something wrong and they don't want to get caught. Pretty much.
That's true.
That's why they hire a law firm from the UK. Just like deal with their stuff.
And the thing is, oh my god, I had a point now. I can't remember what I was gonna say.
All right.
Take your
It'll
time.
come back.
No worries.
It'll come back. But
I wanted
like,
to ask
on
you.
the topic of Lebanon, like, it's because we're in this like state of limbo right now, and state of war, and state of like constant fear, just for survival. I feel like survival mode is not a place where people can thrive or like think about growth or think about anything else. So obviously, like, I had a course at AUB, and one of the topics was on leadership, and we went through Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Obviously, I don't know how many times we've been through like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but like, the base of it is like safety and security. And once you start going up the ladder, you get to the point of like esteem and self actualization and whatever. There's no way for a person like living in Lebanon under this, like, constant fear for our lives to get to the point where we can focus on like other important, let's say, topics related to, okay, let's see how we can make this country better, or let's see how we can become better to be able to help our, like, it's so difficult. Like, we're just stuck in a rut and stuck in a place of just seeing how we can just wake up and live the next day, instead of like thinking about how I can improve and become a better person and like, figure out what I want to do with my life or whatever. That's so hard. That's so hard. So again, like when you feel like the governing body is not even making it easy for you to be, like, how are you going to be thinking about anything else as well? So yeah, just
It's
wanted to throw
unfortunate.
that there.
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
you're right.
No, totally.
The
I
government
want
is not governing. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
working.
I want nothing more than to live in Lebanon and for my career to thrive.
Yeah.
The reason I left Lebanon is because opportunities are obstructed by corruption.
Yeah.
And we don't have that base of safety and security that you're talking about. Wouldn't Lebanon want all of us to come back and bring our talents to Lebanon and to see it succeed? I think they do.
Of
And
course.
so this is why we're fighting for this, is so that we can make Lebanon a better place.
Make Lebanon great again.
Yes. I want to ask you about the Beirut Marathon this year. Do you have any knowledge if it's going to happen?
It's not going to happen. They already canceled it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a beautiful tradition.
Of course,
I've done it so many times. It's so fun.
But they are having a virtual race. You can check out their page and see that, because like the virtual race, they're trying to like collect funds for Lebanon. And
Okay,
on that subject, like, I'm in Philadelphia, between Philadelphia and New Jersey right now.
All right.
But I've been trying to meet a lot of Lebanese people. Like that's how I feel. That's how I feel like me. Like, again, another thing I struggle with is because like Lebanon is such a huge part of my identity. Like I feel like I built my whole persona on like Aziza from Lebanon or whatever. But so I've been trying to connect with a lot of Lebanese people, and like over the weekend I met up with this girl. Her name is Miranda. Her mom is Lebanese actually, and her dad's African American, but like her grandpa from her mom's side used to have a restaurant in Philadelphia, like a Lebanese restaurant. So she just started like making Lebanese food and catering. That's next to her corporate job as well. But she's like obsessed with all of that. So we're like trying to put together like a 1K or 5K race to collect funds for Lebanon as well, and then end it with like good food from her. So I feel like wherever you go, whenever there's like a Lebanese person, we're always thinking about how to just like help our country or make it better. Like whether you're in LA or the UK or, wherever in the world, like we just always have Lebanon in our hearts and we're always trying to make it better. So that's the thing about Lebanese people. I hate the words, like, yeah, we're so resilient. Like, can we just like chill and just, like let's be thriving people instead of like resilient people. Like we don't want to keep fighting. We just want to be. But it's just a lovely thing about Lebanese people, at least. So yeah, I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we are a resilient population, and I think the resilience is mainly drawn from the fact that we have to draw agency for ourselves instead of relying on a government to supply us with the services
True.
and needs that we need to have to live our day-to-day life. We have to rely on everything ourselves. Like if we don't have electricity, we're the ones who have to provide that through an alternative supplier. If the water is out, we have to fix that ourselves.
And the biggest example is what's going on right now with the displaced. Like, it's not the government who had a contingency plan to see what to do with all these people who had no homes and no water, no roofs over their heads and anything. Like, it's always like the grassroots organizations or the NGOs that are doing the work, and even individuals. Like, had we not been doing anything, I do not know what would have happened to, the people who were displaced. And we're talking about people who probably have two homes, like in the south and in the suburbs of Beirut. But these are the people who have nothing right now. And it's heartbreaking. And again, the government is absolutely doing nothing about it had it not been for individuals. So that's the power of Lebanese people in terms of like individuals. But imagine like these are the same people in the governing places trying to make a difference. Like, just have rules, just have like, contingency plans, have plans at least, not just contingency plans, like have something going on to protect your people. Don't wait for the elections of a president to figure out what to do as a next step. So it's crazy. It's just absolutely bonkers, Yana.
Yep.
And on the topic of like safety and security, like something that was, as we were talking about, I was thinking about, is how do these politicians themselves not feel like, oh, I'm living in Lebanon, it's getting bombed. How do they feel safe and secure? It doesn't click in my head, like, are they not, do they not feel like afraid? Do they not, that Maslow's hierarchy of need, does it like not trigger them, does not affect them at all? Are they not influenced by it? Or are they just,
seriously,
they've superseded already? They're already at self-actualization and they're permanent.
No, I think, Said, the biggest barrier is something Aziza brought up earlier, egos. I think people have such inflated egos and they care about themselves too much. They don't care about helping others because it's me, it's a dog-eat-dog thing.
I don't even know anymore. Like, it's also, there's a blame game going on where they, like, I heard so many politicians throw like the government should do something. I'm like, are you not part of the government? Like, what are you talking about? الدولة لازم تعمل شيء. شو يعني? Like, what does that even mean? Like, you are the dawla, you are the government. Like, why aren't you doing anything? Like, whenever something's going bad, they just throw it like at others, and then when something's going good, yeah, it was me. Like, that's
it's
the
like
thing.
A bunch of 5-year-olds in the playground or something.
100%. Like, no, 5-year-olds probably know how to do things better. Trust me. Like, let's not even. Poor 5-year-olds. They probably know how to. They're nicer probably. So yeah.
What is
probably just put Darcy in charge then.
Right.
Probably.
Darcy would do better. What's the balance between competition and cooperation in terms of athletics, from your perspective and your experience?
That's a nice question. So athletes are very competitive. Like, it's in our blood. Like, whenever we're training, whether we're at the gym or on the track, like, I'm a very, very competitive person. Like, it's not even funny, but the thing is, like, whenever we are training in a group, for example, like, we push each other to get to our personal bests. And I think eventually, as we mature, we realize that, like, each person has their personal best, let's say, their PB. So you don't compare your best to another person's best. You're seeing how far you can get. So even though you're competing with each other, at the end of the day, if I'm running against Sha'Carri Richardson, I'm probably going to be like 20 meters behind her, 10 meters behind her, who knows? But like, at the end of the day, I'm just pushing myself to do my best without having to, compete with her. But maybe if we're training together, that cooperation is going to help me become a more competitive athlete. So I feel like that's where competition and cooperation kind of like find a certain balance,
Totally. You have to work together, but you also, I think your situation is a mixture of this, right? Competitiveness. People want to be the person to be represented at the Olympics.
Yeah. But then again, as well, like, if I want to add something, like, there's no way for a person to improve if they're not with athletes who are better or equally as good as them. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
need people who are stronger than you to become better. If you're the smartest person in the room, they say like you're not going to go anywhere, right?
Yeah,
And
so
if you're
true.
the fastest person in the room or you're the strongest person in the room, like there's still like not much improvement that you can do. But if you're placing yourself with people who are stronger than you or faster than you, like that level of competition, there is a certain element of cooperation where you're gonna be better in a way. Does that answer
What's
your question, or are you trying to ask me something else?
Oh no, yes, no, that was no. I'm just wanting to hear from your experience because you've been
Yeah.
through it. You've been through your own experience. No one can go through what you've been through.
Yeah.
So, what are you hoping from this lawsuit?
Yeah. Again, I just hope that eventually some like tangible rules can be put into place where athletes' rights are protected. And I hope that athletes in the track community see the importance of this, because it's not about me. It's not just about me. Like this is for the good of the track community and like on the big spectrum. Like put yourself in my shoes, try to see what would have happened. Like there's just so much that needs to be fixed, so much accountability that needs to be taken into consideration, and so much transparency that needs to be put into place as well. So I just hope that we can get that, governance put into place. We can get, answers to whatever questions we have, and just just get the ball rolling in terms of like not being afraid. Like, are they going to send us? Are they not going to send us? Are we going to go? Are we not going to go? What are the rules? What are the requirements? Like everything should be stated like from the get-go, instead of us
Yeah.
having to like guess what's going to happen. Like that's not the way it should be. I'm just supposed to be focusing on my training and not have to have my head be like all over the place and messing up my mental health trying to figure out what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Lebanon
We need the
missed
rules.
a great opportunity having you represent them at the Paris Olympics.
Yeah. But
Until the next one,
anyway,
Saeed.
hopefully.
Yeah. Aziza, we hope the best for you. We hope the lawsuit goes well.
Thank you.
And hopefully you're able to draft a set of rules that the federation will be obliged to follow so that future
Hopefully.
athletes can be protected. Um, so Aziza, how can people support you in this endeavor that you're taking on, and how can they get in touch with you to show their support?
So they can definitely get in touch with me on Instagram, Aziza Sbaity. I haven't been posting much lately, obviously, but yeah, I try to, post about important topics over there, or just, just show my daily whatever that I'm doing. But yeah, like I feel like once I repost or, start talking about this subject again, like it's very important for it to get traction so that it can get to like a wider audience, because it really helps with taking this course further. So yeah, definitely just like supporting this cause would be a great thing for all Lebanese athletes in a way. So yeah.
All right.
Fantastic. Aziza, thank you again for coming onto the show. Guys, thank you for watching another episode of A2 The Show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. That it's very helpful for us and also helpful for our guests. Aziza, this is how we end the podcast. We salute to cover the camera. And
Bye.
peace.
Bye.
Right.